The people of Farmingdale are under a relentless Zeds attack with chaos everywhere. In the highway, in the forest, and even in the suburbs. Powerful Zed forces are about to make their final push at the gates of Farmingdale. This is the dawn of the Zeds. I hate when that happens. To the 4R phase, there's no refugees to move. The Rangers stay put at downtown, and the National Guard isn't going anywhere either. To the infection phase, the infection level increases by 1 because of those rodents on the highway. It is now at 5. The die roll is a 6, and we save ourselves from an outbreak. To the eat phase. Toro Loco is at the hospital, but because of the Savior Corps' emergency preparedness, which gives us a +1 die roll modifier, it is impossible to roll a 1. On to the Zeds phase. There's movement on the highway and a double move at the suburbs. On the highway, the lead Zeds mob falls once again on downtown. And Colonel Kingman is once again called to lay down his defensive perimeter. Will it succeed this time? It doesn't. And we have hand-to-hand combat. The Rangers again will do the fighting. The Rangers get a column shift to the right in hand-to-hand combat, so we have a ×2 advantage. Each side suffers 2 hits, and the Zeds have to retreat, so the Rangers are reduced, and the Zeds mob is reduced to just 1 unit. The infection level, however, increases to 6. The remaining Zeds on the highway move, and we still have a Zeds mob in front of downtown, followed by another Zeds mob, which includes the Super Zed Leapers. Meanwhile, the infected vermin advances into Ingeborg. Now to the first of 2 moves in the suburbs. The Zeds mob on the suspended bridge attacks suburbia. Again, Colonel Kingman is called to place his defensive perimeter. This time, it fails again. And the Zeds will be fighting Rusty Staub. Thanks to Suburbia's terrain column shifts, this is an equal match. The result is that the Zeds suffer 3 hits and Staub only 1. Rusty Staub has a rugged ability. He can cancel hits he suffers with 5 or 6s, and he cancels his sole hit. So the Zeds suffer 3 hits. One of their units is reduced and they fall back on the suspension bridge. Infection level is now 7. Meanwhile, the powerful Zeds unit at Beauville advances towards town center. And now to the second move in the suburbs. The recently defeated Zeds mob attacks Suburbia once again, and Colonel Kingman is called once again to set his defensive perimeter. This time he succeeds, and the Zeds mob is pushed back to the bridge. Meanwhile, the unit behind cannot move forward and stays where it is. Now to the action phase, but first we have to replace all regular Zeds in play that have a strength of 3 or less with a newly drawn, fresh, full-strength Zeds unit. So let's see how many of these 3 strength units or less are on the map. None can be found except for the recently beaten Zeds mob on the suspension bridge. The 3 strength unit is substituted by a 6 strength unit. And now we have our 3 event actions. With 1 point of ammo left, there's not much we can do to weaken these Zeds mobs knocking on our doors. So we look for leadership here, Major Hernandez, and he has a special ability that may help us get some ammo. His motivational speech ability. The motivational speech ability gives 1 action to each of our units in town, and that means a lot of attempts to try to forage for ammo. In addition, the Keys to the City ability of the Major gives a +1 die roll modifier, so we start with the civilians with a strength of 2, and they are successful and gain 1 ammo point. The level is 2. Next, the Savior Corps will be foraging for ammo. 3 modified to a 4, they gain a supply point, and the level is now 5. We keep foraging now. This other civilians unit with a strength of 2 fails in obtaining anything. The reduced civilians with a strength of 2, however, roll a modified 5, 1 additional supply point, and the level is now 6. Ammo still low, and now the reduced civilians in Suburbia roll a modified 5, another point of supply. The level is 7. Now, the fire department auxiliaries roll a 5 modified to a 6, and they do gather 1 point of ammo, increasing the level to 3. The rangers will also be foraging at downtown, but they fail to find anything. Now we have our heroes foraging too. Sheriff Hunt rolls a 6 modified to a 7, and he finds ammo. The level increases now to 4. Now Rusty Staub, with his special foraging ability, rolls a 4 modified to a 5, so he obtains 2 points of supplies. And we have a lot of supplies now at 9. Finally, Deputy Schmidt rolls a 5 modified to a 6, and he also finds a point of ammo. And the level is now 5. So even Colonel Kingman will be looking for ammo, but he has no luck. After having expended the motivational speech ability of Major Hernandez, we find that we have 5 points of ammo and 9 of supplies. So now Rusty Staub uses 1 event action to execute a gunfire attack. His crossbow armed ability means we won't expend a point of ammo here. He fires away A double 6, 3 hits, and one of the units in the mob is reduced. Now, the Savior Corps, with its Field Med Station ability, heals the Rangers. The infection level goes down to 6, supply level goes down to 8. Next, the Rangers execute a gunfire attack against the mob in front of downtown, inflicting 2 hits, which reduces one of the units in the mob. Ammo level is now at 4. Now, Sheriff Hunt executes a gunfire attack against the advancing Zeds mob. He causes 3 hits, and one of the units in the mob is also reduced. The ammo level is now at 3. Next, the fire department auxiliaries forage for ammo under the leadership of Sheriff Hunt. They roll a 5, but with the keys to the city ability of Major Hernandez, they do find ammo, and the level is now at 4. Deputy Schmidt, using his initiative, forages, and a modified 5 produces 1 point of supplies, increasing the level to 9. Now, the civilians at the Lucky Strike mine fail miserably in locating ammo. Major Hernandez's one-time motivational speech has been expended, and the levels of ammo have not increased dramatically. There are Zeds mobs knocking on the doors of the highway, suburbs, and forest tracks. And of the 10 chaos markers, 8 are on the board. Hard-headed Zeds. There's no refugees, and the Rangers can't abandon downtown, as well as the National Guard can't leave Lefty's Pass. To the infection phase. The infection level is increased by 1 because of the rodents on the highway track, and it is now at 7. The roll is a 6. An outbreak occurs, and this time it is where most Zeds units are present. There's 3 in the suburbs, 4 in the forest track, there's only 1 in the mountain track, and 5 Zeds units on the highway track, and the new unit appears at the nuclear plant. Next, Lake Effect Zeds, and a new Zeds unit appears, surprisingly, behind our lines at the campground. With the strength of 5, ruining our plans, and with a wide open path to town center. And after the outbreak, the infection level goes down to 1. But now those Zeds at the campground cause chaos. Only 1 chaos marker left outside of the board. Now, of the 10 chaos markers, 9 are on the board. If there ever comes a time that we have to place a chaos marker and there's none left outside of the board, that is the end of Farmingdale and of this game. So now we're at the eat phase. Only Toro Loco in the hospital and the Savior Corps' emergency preparedness ability eliminates any chance of losing supply to the Zeds phase. But first, during this phase, our defensive units receive no terrain shifts, and the Zeds immediately destroy any barricades in the space they enter before resolving hand-to-hand combat. The Zeds begin their move on the mountain track, and the surprising Zeds at the campground move towards town center, with no opposing forces directly in front of them. The tough Zeds fall once again on Lefty's Pass, and this time the National Guard cannot take advantage of the barricade, which is immediately destroyed. The defending guardsmen cannot take advantage of the 1 column shift to the right for terrain, so the Zeds with the advantage inflict 2 hits on the National Guard and they're called to suffer 1. They can erase the hit, but they roll a 5, so the Zeds suffer 1 hit, they win this battle. And the National Guard unit, reduced with 2 hits, retreats into the Lucky Strike Mine. The Zeds spread chaos in Lefty's pass, and by doing so, the last chaos marker is finally on the board. If called to place 1 more marker, that'll be the end of Farmingdale. Meanwhile, the infection level increases to 2. And now, to the Zeds move in the suburbs. The leading Zeds mob, with a bloody nose, advances once again into suburbia, and Colonel Kingman is called to save the day with his defensive perimeter. And he fails miserably. And now, no terrain shifts for the defenders. Rusty Staub, facing insurmountable odds, is butchered. And that's the end of Rusty Staub, and much more than that, actually. For statistical purposes, Rusty Staub's rugged ability was not able to cancel a single hit. His lucky ability allowed him to roll 2 dice for purposes of a saving die roll, and the 4 allowed him to appear unconscious at the hospital, right next to El Toro Loco, so that when the Zeds arrived there, they would have both for lunch. Since the Zeds have taken suburbia, and there are no more chaos markers left, the Zeds have overrun Town Center, and with it, Farmingdale. The Zeds all converge on Town Center. The celebration and carnage is so brutal that it cannot be shown on YouTube. And the Zeds have resulted victorious in this apocalypse level of Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition. So, what would have happened if we had survived this card? We would have had to face this one. What the heck is that? With Zeds from all tracks attacking. And then the final card, with 4 Zeds moves. So, let's not fool ourselves and congratulate the Zeds on their well-deserved victory. If you enjoy the States of Siege system and zombie games, you can't go wrong with Dawn of the Zeds, and especially this 3rd edition. This game is much more than what you saw here. You can choose the level of complexity you feel comfortable with, and there's plenty more heroes, heroic civilian units, and even villains. You can play the game solitaire, or cooperatively, or even opposed. Because of the multiple combinations of heroes, heroic civilian units, as well as the draw of the cards, replayability is very high. And the State of Siege system lends itself well to the feeling of hopelessness that you get as each turn passes by and you have more things to do with less resources. I hope that you've enjoyed this video series and it has provided you an idea of the rich narrative quality that this game system has. This is Stuka Joe, signing off for now. Thanks for watching.